Hi, thank you for listening to Behind the Ranks. I'm Victoria.
I'm Michelle.
And today we have a friend, Jack Krause, with us, and he's a male military spouse. And so we're just hoping to get some more insight on what it's like to be a male spouse in the military. So I'm super excited to dive in. Hey, Jack.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. Welcome in.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So first, let's talk about a little bit of your background, because you haven't always just been a male spouse. So let's talk about kind of like your backstory. What did you do first? What's your affiliation with military? And then I want to know how you met your wife.
Sure. Okay. Well, that's a long story. I actually joined the Army in 2002. It was right after 9/11. I was working just 12-hour days, 6 days a week, and my girlfriend at the time, we got pregnant, and I decided, I can't keep killing myself like this. I want to do something that has a little more meaning to it. And then that just kind of 9/11 happened, and it just kind of spurred me towards it. So I ended up joining the Army. I went in as infantry, signed for 6 years. I had no guidance at all. I didn't talk with my mom. I just kind of went in, and it was this whole reflexive thing. And so I did that for a while, deployed a few times, got out after 8.5 years. They medically retired me because I've been blown up over 30 times.
Oh my goodness.
Shot and everything. So when we were getting ready to go to Afghanistan again, they do a series of medical evaluations called MedPro, and I failed that because I had TBI, which is a traumatic brain injury.
Wow.
And so they've taken really good care of me. I got out. The VA's taking good care of me, and
That's great to hear that.
and then
Not that you got injured. It's great to hear that you're being well taken care of.
Yeah.
So we went all over the place. I know, Michelle, you were in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first duty station. Was at
love
Fort Wainwright,
Alaska.
way up north where
yes.
it's cold.
We were only 30 minutes from there. No.
Yeah. I know. I love Eielson. They have the best gym. By the way. If anybody ever
They
goes
do
out,
have
they
a great gym,
They have
great pool, great field.
And their kid play place.
Oh,
They
yeah.
took the old commissary and
The
made it
community
into
center
this.
is awesome.
I really wish they would do something like that here, because while we don't have the cold here, we
have
do
the
have incredible heat.
Yeah.
And Eielson provided this really great place for free that people could go and play with kids. And there was a Starbucks in there. You could sit in there. And
That sounds amazing.
It was really
party.
wonderful.
We had like every birthday party there while we lived there. I mean,
Yeah.
it was really great. They had party rooms, and they put in gym equipment. I'm not sure if
They did, yeah. So
like,
you could,
watch
like as a mom, you can just
Yeah.
sit there watching. I
Yeah.
say, and I say as a mom, and I'm a dad. This is exactly what we're here to talk about,
as
right?
a parent, yeah.
As a parent, you go
Yeah.
in there and you can just be on elliptical or something and watch your kids. It was a
It's
really, really
awesome.
cool thing.
It's
And,
probably because you would get weird looks in there. They're like, why are you here?
well, actually, that's one of the
That's
things
probably
that
what we're going to dive into.
kind of dive into, right?
Yeah.
So retired, had a really, really tough time after that. Depression hit really bad. I've had a lot of friends commit suicide and have a lot of issues afterwards. So, I got really big. I was like 250 something pounds, and
Not muscle is what we're talking about.
No.
That's what we're talking about. This is not muscle.
It was not. It was not
Yeah.
muscle. And then at some point, it just kind of clicked. I went to one of the VA doctors, and they said, "Hey, listen, do you want to keep being a dad? Do you want to see your kids? Because what you're doing right now, you're not gonna. You might as well go home and tell your kids goodbye." So,
Wow.
yeah, he was really real. I remember him as I don't want to say his name, but he was a really good guy. I saw him once, and that kind of got me on track. And so I went to school to become a physical trainer, and for emergency medicine, because just the nature of my job and what I did, I kind of wanted to do the flip side of it.
Oh, okay.
So went through, lost weight, kind of got in a healthier place, went and did a lot of therapy, started reading.
Cool.
That's, I think, really underappreciated.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I don't think people do as much. Now with Audible, it's really great. I use that a lot, and I get a lot of those books. So went through and I had a really bad divorce up in Alaska. Got custody of my kids and was a single parent for about 4 years. And when I met my wife up there, in Alaska, she was a traveling physician assistant.
Okay.
Right. So she would do physical therapy stuff, which worked because I was all broken and beat up anyway. So I met her up there, and I actually met her on Tinder. I am one of those rare stories where it kind of worked out. We went on a date, and it was really weird. We went and had lunch at a place called Lunch in Fairbanks. Shout out to Lunch. It was a really good place. It was a really great name too. So we get done and she goes, well, what next? And I had no follow up. I'm like, okay, well, let's go for a walk. And we were going to go do mini golf thing downtown, and that was closed. So I went to the Fairbanks Ice Museum. Did you ever go to that? Yeah. So it was really cool. There's a bunch of ice sculptures year round, and then they have a champion ice sculptor who actually does a live thing right there. And we do that, and she goes, okay, now what? I go, oh, man.
We're in Fairbanks. What do you
dude, I don't know. So I go, I know it's weird, but like, you want to go for a hike or something? She's, yeah. So we hike up Esther Dome. We took our dogs and everything, and she gets done, and like we get done with the hike, and she goes, okay, now what?
I didn't think it was going to go this far.
Yeah, like, this is the longest first date I've ever had. And it's just, so I go, well, I had a roommate at the time, and I go, well, I'm grilling burgers. So
I guess
like,
you're coming
I was
back.
like, do you want to have
I guess she was like, you're not getting rid of me that easy.
That's
like,
it. And so we burgers, and we did movie and everything. And I mean, that was kind of it. We had ended up having like 4 dates in one first date.
You're
and,
like, I have a curfew.
Yeah.
that was awesome.
After I got custody of my kids, I moved down to Georgia, and she ended up coming, I don't know, I think like a couple months later, and she stayed in Tallahassee. No, Panama City, not Tallahassee. I wish she would have been in Tallahassee. So about 2.5 hours, and then she would drive like on the weekends, like 2.5 hours. She'd come and stay with me there, and
that's so nice.
And that's kind of it. We met in.
So you guys have been together how long?
2016.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Okay.
So yeah,
that's
just,
so cool.
Then we got married in 2018.
Aw.
Yeah.
And then now they're expecting
and
twin
now
boys.
She is right. She's
boys.
right there on that edge. So she's 35 weeks now.
That's amazing.
Just miserable. Just absolutely miserable.
I'm so proud of her though.
But no, she's killing it. She's doing really great. And we're, the other kids, my oldest just left. He's in the Army now, and he's out in Georgia. I had to think. He went to Virginia, and then now he's back. He's in Georgia.
Okay.
He went to a couple different bases, so now he's out there, and so now it's 3 teenagers and getting ready to have 2.
They have like built-in babysitters.
Little guys. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
built-in babysitters.
and that'd be a really good point. Except that I'm retired, so
that's true.
Dad gets to be there, so we have a complete. Like gender reversal, role reversal kind of thing going on. So she's active duty, and now not only am I a male military spouse, but I'm going from an Army lifestyle to the Air Force, which is vastly different.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've only known a couple other Army spouses, but I've heard a little bit about how it's different. But that's really interesting that you say it's so vastly different.
Well, the
I have no idea.
mindset, I think, is
that makes sense. Yeah.
the way they approach things. The Army has a little bit of a different mission than the Air Force. Air Force is kind of about building the pilots and supporting the pilots and supporting that mission. The Army, we have air assets, we have ground assets, we have different things. It's just kind of a different mission. So very different mindset, but I've met some really, really, really wonderful people here too. Good. I have some good friends over in our neighborhood. And now they all have young kids. I'm going to get to have kids.
There you go.
Play with them.
Push that double stroller up there.
We actually just got in the mail. Thank you, Amazon.
My husband is a twin, so I've always wanted twins so bad, but it didn't happen. But
Identical or fraternal?
Identical.
That's what we're having identical
yeah.
boys.
Identical twins.
Uh-huh.
I know.
It's going to be,
It'll be fun.
it's going to
Yeah,
be
That's
something.
what my
Something,
in-laws
I know.
always say. It was fun.
Well, they say, what I'm always told is, don't take advice from anybody that doesn't have twins. I go, well, why is that? Babies are babies. They're like, it's not
Yeah.
the same. It's not the same thing.
I
It's a very
imagine.
different.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. So then how long have you been here at Nellis?
We've been here, I think about a year and a half.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, year and a half, something like that.
And you're continuing to do kind of like the stay home dad thing, or you did some physical training. Is that something that you do like to make money? You do for fun? You do,
It's been a little of both. Over the pandemic, I did do personalized training with people, and that was a paid job.
Yeah.
But I did train the PTLs before COVID hit. Those are the physical fitness leaders in the squadron.
Yeah.
I did train the PTLs for my wife's squadron.
That's
I
cool.
would teach them how to go and teach younger airmen how to do PT properly, because military PT up until recently has been pretty harmful.
Yeah.
That's why you get a lot of people, especially from my era, that are getting out and they have messed up knees, messed up backs, all these different things, because they were taught incorrectly, and they just generationally passed that knowledge on. So now they're doing a lot more different things and doing a bit better with the knowledge. So like we would do yoga.
Yeah.
I would lead, you'd have a hangar full of 200 people and all doing yoga together. And that's
Love
great.
yoga.
I mean, that's pretty.
I was gonna say, my husband's knees are horrible. He enlisted in 04, so not like around
Yeah.
the same, So yeah, he's definitely suffering now
Yeah.
from it all. So that's awesome that you can recognize that and go back to teaching basics.
Hoping when we get done with this thing that I can go back to doing that. When I got here, one of the things I miss the most about the military is the community.
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest perk that you have as far, in my opinion, as far as being in the military, being a military spouse, is you have this community of like-minded people that are really honestly the only people that can understand what it is and what you're going through.
Yeah.
Nobody
outside.
I can't walk to a civilian on the street and describe what it's like to have somebody deploy or have somebody that's, oh, your wife's just gone for a month. She's down in Arizona doing TDY.
Or you can talk to her whenever you want.
Yeah. What does that mean?
True. It's very true. The outside world just doesn't quite get it, like we do inside this military family.
Right. And actually that's how I ended up meeting Victoria. Is I was leading some friends. They become really good friends, actually, their family, trying to put together a working out group in the morning and everything. And man, it's been just like pulling teeth.
Yeah, I know.
It's really tough to get people to show up.
Yeah,
it is.
And I was like, I was going to join his little thing, but then I got pregnant. And then I was like, oh gosh, I was like, I need to wait till I'm out of my first trimester before I do. I don't know. I was like scared to like do anything because I have like history of miscarriages and stuff anyway. And then COVID hit. So I was like, okay.
I just kind of put the damper on everything.
Yeah, I was like,
definitely. And Nellis is hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
I think because it's so big and it's not centralized. Like not everybody lives on base. Everybody lives, there's Henderson, Summerlin, Centennial, Aliante. Like it's not
all
like
over.
it's a tight knit or even like, I guess close, I don't know. It definitely has been hard. I mean, I've found some really great, military spouses, but we've made like most of our community here is actually like within our neighborhood, which is odd. Like typically as we've moved around base to base, it's always been found on the base and, with other military people. But I think there's definitely a lot of challenges here on top of COVID that get people to come out and do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right. I think there's also a generational difference, which the current generation of people come in, your 18, 19, 20-year-olds, they're not as social, I would say. I mean, they'll be on social media. They'll be behind a screen, but face-to-face interaction seems to be really difficult for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So creating that group and getting somebody to even just show up to something, like it causes people a lot of anxiety. And what I try to tell them is like, look, bring a friend, bring your husband, if you're worried don't worry about your fitness level. Like we have everybody from every level. I put together a jiu-jitsu class, and that went for a few months. We had people showing up weekly. That went for a few months, and But again, everything kind of tapers off, and getting new people to just show up that first time. And normally when they do, it's fun. We have a good time, and they can, kind of keep going with it. But it has been a challenge trying to foster a community here.
Yeah.
I need like the golden ticket to figure out what is
I know.
Right. Yeah. Well, one of the issues that I run into, and this is kind of why we're here, is it's the fact that I am a male. It creates a lot of, it's definitely an uphill battle to try to get people to show up, especially if the people that are showing up are female.
Yeah.
They want to feel safe. They want to know that they're going to be okay. This isn't some sleazy, weird thing to like a pickup thing or something, which is understandable because it's, that's out there, but that is definitely a challenge.
Yeah. I can see that being a challenge. I know. And I'm sorry. I was like, but when I did a little Google search, on like, cause I was like, man, how many male spouses are we looking at, in the military? And the page I found was the Women's Bureau website. Talking about like, I know. And actually, so I didn't actually get a number for male spouses. The number I got was there's 92% of military spouses are women. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well then, if I do the opposite, then we're looking at maybe 8% are male. That's what we're talking about. And of that, I don't know if they're calculating, like mill to mill at all or anything like that. So, man, you guys, I know I told you, I was like, you're like a unicorn.
It was crazy. I found out when I was a key spouse for our squadron, and I was one of 2 males on Nellis.
Oh, right.
Wow. That's it. One of 2 male key spouses. And that's it.
Yeah.
That is awesome that you do that though. Like, I that would be hard.
It helped a lot of the males because I didn't just reach out to the married people. I also understand what it's like to be in the barracks and be lonely and those walls start closing in. So I always made sure whenever we'd have new people at our newcomers briefs, I'd give my number out to them and say, hey, like if the walls start closing in, like call me at 2 a.m. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's fine because, just being on that end, I do understand what like, and a lot of the guys really did appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you have that opposite thing of where they don't want to call somebody's wife and go, hey, I'm having a real tough time right now.
Right. Yes.
Can we go get a coffee? And
yeah.
That can be a little weird. So
yeah.
It's
That's
great that you have that perspective, like of prior, your own prior military experience, and now you have it, as a spouse too. So
I was thinking like, I didn't think about like the single airmen, like that's so good that you do, or you can contact them, right? Because it is weird if I were to like contact single airmen and stuff like that. I mean, unless they're the females, but even then, it's like, I don't know how it feels coming off as a spouse. I don't necessarily, I was like, I've never been in your shoes, but I was like, I've seen my husband in your shoes. Is that weird?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and there's still a real stigma about men reaching out for any kind of help.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate because the suicide rates are just astronomical right now. Yeah. As of right now, I've had 43 friends die by suicide in the past 5 years.
That's crazy.
And that's really, it is crazy. It's really tough when, you get through these wars and these really hard things, and then you think it's over. You think the fight's over. Like, hey, guys, we made it. And then those demons just kind of keep showing up there. And so I always strongly encourage people to, reach out. I try to, talk with me. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Give me a call. It doesn't matter day or night. I'll stop whatever I'm doing to go out there and pick you up or have a breakfast with you, whatever it is. You know?
Man,
we need more people like you making that known. That's a horrible number of people.
So all of those, the 43 suicides, they were all, you knew them when you were your time from the Army?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they were either good friends, people that I served with, or, some of these people I knew their families, I knew their moms, I knew, their siblings. And it's really rough when you wake up and you get on Facebook one day and they go, hey guys, we all kind of have different message threads and stuff like that. So try to push that as much as we can, talk to somebody. I don't care what it's about, and find your reason every day to get up. For me, working out is like it's my church. That's how I center myself. and then with my kids, we have a crazy schedule. So that kind of keeps me pretty busy. I don't have time for anything else.
Yeah. Have time to think about it.
So with the male spouses, and we'll get off the dark stuff. I'm really sorry.
That's okay.
No, I'm sorry.
That's
It
important.
needs to be discussed, though.
One of the things along this line is that that study we were talking about earlier off mic from 2018 was that for every 100,000, it was about 9 female military spouses. That's suicide rate for every 100,000, and for every 100,000, it's 29. So it's 3 times as much for military males, and you can see it on these Facebook spouse pages, things like that. I actually had to leave all of the Nellis pages because I've been personally told that I'm in the wrong place whenever I would comment on something or give advice, and they're, everything on there is, hey ladies, I need advice for this. Hey gals, know, and so if I ever commented, I've literally been told, hey, this isn't for you. You're in the wrong page.
That's so disturbing.
I know.
That just makes me feel sick. Why?
Yeah. Yeah, I get frustrated also. I mean, but and I catch myself, right? And it's difficult when you're talking about spouses and you do feel the need. You're like, well, wait, we're not just female, and it's hard to kind of catch yourself to constantly be like, oh, right, there's other gender spouses, and it's difficult to kind of wrap your head around that sometimes. Man, I don't know, but I am so sorry.
Well, I mean, just like you said at the beginning, if you're looking at 92%, it's, that kind of the numbers, it's going to kind of happen. You're just going to kind of assume. But with that assumption, there comes some negative stereotyping with that too, is stay-at-home dads, you kind of get looked down on. Made fun of, not only from, is it kind of humiliating from females, but other men that are working. I've gotten stuff with oh, you don't work.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm retired. No, I do work. I work at home, right? And that's what is the same as all the moms. They go, we're doing work here.
Yeah,
we're here.
exactly.
We're keeping things together.
Yeah. No, I'm absolutely working. I don't just sit here and eat bonbons or whatever. Right? We've talked about that before.
We talked about that with Heather.
Yeah.
Right, waiting for those bonbons.
Yeah, where are those bonbons?
It was I know when I was doing other searches, it was kind of what are some of the challenges that male spouses might come across? And it was, one was others assume they're the service member.
Right.
So I'm sure you have plenty of interactions where you're out with your wife and they're like, oh, you're in the military. Oh, and then you're like, no.
Yeah, she's the awesome one over
here. Yeah,
here.
exactly. Please direct your attention.
Yeah.
But of course you're still a veteran, which is nice. Veterans Day, you both get to celebrate and stuff. Mm-hmm. But there was also another challenge would be role and identity clash. And you touched on that already, where you're like, well, now I'm the stay-home dad and she's working, and I'm kind of excited to see how you do with the twin boys when your wife goes back to work and stuff. I'm
so pumped.
I am so exciting. I know.
I was just watching today. I was driving back on base, and I saw a dad. He's out there just with his little dude. Must have been 2, and they're just walking. I'm like, man, I can't wait. I can't just so cool. Just to watch. Because I haven't had, my youngest is 13. Yeah. I haven't had a young one for a long time, and I was a very different person back then, too, a little more wild. I'm my old age. I've come.
And you'll really be able to see every milestone and stuff. I
get to be here. I'm not.
So cool.
I mean, I met my oldest boy. I met him after basic training. That was my first time meeting him, and I met my daughter coming back from R&R from Iraq.
Oh man!
She was born while I was in Iraq.
It'd be such a different experience.
Oh,
now I get to be there, and I can't wait to watch him. Just learn things, just experience the world. Oh, Dad, this is a rock. This is the coolest thing ever. Oh, look at this stick
I found. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we said that at the same time.
Yeah.
I know boys. Okay.
That's it, right? This stick. They have to have something
Sticks.
to just.
Let's see. And then there was isolation, which we've also touched on already. Mm-hmm. You're just by yourself, and then but it didn't mention how you're almost actively secluded, you don't belong here.
100%.
That's crazy.
100%. Because if you think about it, even in my community around me, I'm friends with a lot of different families in our area. Just like our neighborhood, like you said. Mm-hmm. but they all have male service members.
Yes.
So I'm not hanging out with the wives, and they don't, I mean, understandably, like we do stuff all together, all of us, but understandably they're not going to like, hey, you want to come to the gym with us? And hey, you want to, it's just not there. And I am a part of a couple male spouse groups on Facebook. And I put it out to them. I said, hey, I'm going to be coming on this really great podcast. I put your guys' stuff on there, by the way. So I'm hoping that they give it all a listen. But a lot of the big problems they said are some of the things we've touched on, but also if they're at a playground, just having their kids play and stuff, the moms, they're in their own area, and they've even been asked to leave. Like, hey, we're doing a girl thing here. Like, can you go somewhere else?
Oh my gosh.
So not only is the male military spouse kind of getting ostracized, but also now their child doesn't get to play and be a part of these things too, just because we're the wrong gender, I guess, for the job.
I'm so naive to not I'm not aware of of all this, and that just hurts my heart so much to hear that. I mean, is it these male spouse groups that you're in, are these Nellis specific, or is this across the board? I'm just wondering, does
one
this
of
happen
them is
everywhere?
Nellis specific? There's 23 of us in there. One of them is Nellis, Nellis Creech, and the other one is
just Air Force wide, or it's military wide,
just country worldwide.
So is this I don't want to say is it normal, because it shouldn't be normal, but is this how it is everywhere?
Yeah, pretty unanimously. I mean, you have people overseas, from Germany, UK, people in Italy, and then all over the country. They say that it's a really big problem. And I mean, a part of it, you don't want to get, and I don't want to whine too much, but a part of it just is the numbers. Yeah. It's well, there's just not a lot.
Right.
And so when you do get that, it's, it's really hard to put together a group or get support. And again, if you need help, a lot of these females have, the female spouses have groups they can, there's tons of stuff. You go on Nellis, there's a bunch of groups for women out there, and there's not a lot of stuff for men to, we don't have workout groups on there. We don't have things, and again, we try to put those things together, but it's hard to get just numbers wise, to get everybody on board.
I feel in today's society, especially, we need to work harder, do better at normalizing this. There is nothing wrong with being a male, military spouse, or being a stay-at-home dad. I feel it's just, I don't know, we're just so stuck in our times, or lack of education on it,
Well, especially in the time of, we're really kind of starting to come around to celebrate female empowerment. Yeah. More women are getting out there. And there's already been tons of women out there doing these things. Right. They're just getting more acknowledgement and attention now, which is great. I have a daughter, and I tell her, hey, there's no glass ceiling. You push through. You go get it. It is important that we understand that with this empowerment, it doesn't take away power from the men that are doing it. They need to be recognized in these roles just the same as the women that are doing these hard jobs, raising kids, doing, multiple things. The job doesn't, it starts at 6 a.m. And it doesn't turn off just because, it's 5 o'clock. Sorry, kids. Yeah. I'm out.
I'm off, right? Don't you guys know? And I get a break time once in a while. Y'all need to, they don't, right?
Right.
I know. Oh, man. Goodness. Let's see. The other thing, the other challenges that I had found was that male spouses are less likely to seek support. And I didn't go into explanation on why they don't seek support. Maybe I wonder if it has anything to do with the identity clashing or the role reversal type things, or if it has something to do with there's just nothing for them, Yeah, I was they try asking for help, but there's no support there that really fits their needs, maybe. And so that's something that I feel is very interesting.
Well, think about it like this. So my wife's squadron, they have MFLACs. These are embedded psychologists. You can talk with them, mental health professionals. If I say I'm having a tough time and I want to go speak to this MFLAC for the squadron, we worry. It's more normalized for a female to go and speak and go, oh, well, hey, my wife just needed, she needed to go talk with somebody. So she goes, talks over here. If I go in there and somebody sees me talking to the MFLAC, it could come back onto my wife negatively because they're like, well, what's wrong with your husband? Like he can't, we're still expected to be the manly men and whatever. And like, hey, you're supposed to be able to carry everything. Yeah. It's like, well, I'm in a partnership. My wife also carries a whole lot of it and she's working her butt off too. And you don't want to, outside of the stigma that just all men are supposed to be this, stoic.
Yeah.
You also don't want to bring, I know personally, I don't want to bring something onto my wife by going and speaking to, somebody just for, which we should, right? Mental health should be, it should be encouraged by everybody.
It's just as normal as going to your PCM for a well check. Like it should not matter at all. That
we go and get everything else looked at. We work on everything else. Why would you not,
I was just thinking like, wow, that's such a bummer that it would, or you feel like it would be perceived a certain way if you went and go ask for like some mental health needs and then they're going to like look at your significant other like, is everything okay at home? Because your husband's asking for, or needs mental health, like that's so
legit fear. I mean, this isn't about me in any way, or today's show isn't about me in any way, but years ago I sat out an MFLAC and I felt the same thing. Like I thought that just because I was going to go, like they were going to look at my husband, in some like dark light, like what'd you do, kind of thing. Yeah. But thankfully, that wasn't the case. But I think it's just like the idea of it, and I can imagine like, like you said, going in there then as a male, as a husband, like it probably has to be, I don't know, just a whole different experience. But we need to make it so much more acceptable when somebody seeks out mental health care.
It does. It needs to be normalized.
Yeah, and so much.
I'm really excited to take my new kids out to the playground and everything like that. And I'm really hoping that I don't run into any of those experiences that a lot of these other guys are saying they're getting, because you're some guy, even though your kids are there, you're some guy hanging around the playground and everything. And it's like, well, I mean, doing my key spouse job, we would do meetups. Yeah. We'd meet up at the playgrounds and stuff like that. I don't have kids that are of that age. Yeah. So I'm just a guy that's there around all these women with their kids, and I get a lot of really weird looks, and it's like, well, but I'm a key spouse. Like I'm doing the same job that this person next to me is doing.
You need like a neon shirt, to make it known I'm just the key spouse.
Just key spouse, please. Like, it's okay that I'm here. Like, it's fine.
Hold a flag, something.
But I did get a lot of weird looks, and it was, it was really hard for people to reach out that way. So.
Yeah. I mean, I would say if I was on base, I would be less weird about it. But I do, if I were at like a playground or something and I'm there with my kids and I see a man there with no kids, I'm like, no, wait. But if you were there with a group of ladies and it looked like you were there with them, I would be less.
Some creeper on the outside.
And I was like, but if you're standing there like just random, I'd be a little like, I wonder what his deal is. That's so weird.
Well, no, understandably.
But, yeah.
It's a shame that's how, that's the world we live in. It's so sad, but.
Yeah. And like in one hand, a mama bear, right? But like there's things that make sense, right? Where I'm like, well, okay, this guy is not going to be here. Like, I mean, if he's here with a bunch of women, he's obviously hanging out, like, but it sucks that you're like the only one, again, we're talking about the numbers and
at some point, I guess that's just part of the deal.
But kudos to you for like trying to be involved and like trying to create the sense of community and like, like, I guess breaking stereotypes and stuff, like, kudos,
Appreciate it.
Another on the Military One source, I found an article that was talking about like adjusting to being a military spouse. And I don't know if they were kind of writing this in terms of like, so you got out of the military, but your significant other is in the military. Here's some things that you can do to like, I guess feel adjusted. So one, it said connect with people and organizations. So, and I guess you have been trying to do that. You're a key spouse. You're trying to make community, doing like physical activity stuff and being a physical trainer, trying to offer classes for spouses and stuff. Right. What other sort of organizations have you found helpful?
RWB. It's a program for, they They do runs. They do different. They do a lot of different things. It's mostly for veterans, but you don't have to be a veteran to be a part of it. It's just a way to support military. Up in Fairbanks, they had a really great RWB group.
I didn't know they did stuff other than run.
They would do like we did the Midnight Sun Run together.
Okay, well, that's fine.
But they would do a lot of different things. Like they get together and do like rafting trips or just have community workshops where we talk about like suicide prevention we just hang out.
I'll learn something new.
Yeah.
I just always saw them running.
They do that a lot.
What does it stand for? Sorry, I don't know.
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know what it is. I was like, okay, so RWB. We're at the Google.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right. I know acronyms
That's
are a part of a thing.
And then the Facebook group, you can mostly just get, I mean, you can reach out and get questions answered. But again, it's hard to get people together.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, let's all meet up for a coffee over.
So even here at Nellis, you found it very difficult.
With 28 people between two bases, between Creech and Nellis. Yeah.
Gosh, I know. Well, it's hard. I mean, I would say it's even hard for us lady spouses, you know, that sometimes it's hard to like get them to come out and like, you know, because I mean, we're stuck in whatever schedules and things like that. It can be its own thing. Let's see. Oh, the other thing it said was trying to take advantage of morale, welfare, and recreation activities, events, and trips.
MWR.
They definitely talked about like outdoor recreation a lot. And I don't know what else might be offered other than just trying to look out for those things that the base is doing, like look out for base events and just show up. So again, I think
we've done a few of them.
Yeah.
We try to show up to some of those things. Again, it becomes weird because if, you know, my wife's working and it's just me and my kids, they're like, well, who's this guy? Like, what's his deal? And they kind of break off.
Or they're like, this was a spouse event. And you're like, I am a spouse.
Yeah.
That's where that t-shirt would come in handy. I'm telling you.
I am a spouse.
I have a joke shirt my wife got me, and she says, I heart my airman.
Oh.
I'm like, I'm never going to wear that.
I should have worn it today.
Actually, I did wear it for one of the squadron yoga events that we did.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's so funny. Yeah. But also like awful.
Yeah.
So funny and
awful.
It's
a great conversation starter though, you know.
They're like, aren't you the airman? You love yourself? I don't get it. Right? You're like, no, see.
That's why I have to make sure I grow facial hair. And they're like, okay, well, there's something different there.
Yeah.
Maybe he's
and like when I see facial hair, sometimes I assume, I was like, oh, like you're OSI? And I'm like, I automatically assume.
Yeah. Or you're just on leave. You've been on leave for a couple weeks.
Yeah, right. True. Wow, it comes in fast, doesn't it? The other thing they had talked about was reaching out to other spouses or couples like you, which we've talked about this. I was like, we've talked about this, and you're like, it's pulling teeth no matter where we go. And then focusing on your own career. You know, you're going to be a stay-home dad. I think all you can do is focus.
I have a feeling that my dance card is going to fill up very quickly.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
But I will give you guys my information. If there's any listeners that do need to talk or are in this area and would like to get together, just have a cup of coffee or whatever, like, I'm always open for that.
We're going to blow up your Facebook here soon. Once this episode gets put together and released, you're going to get some attention. We're going to you're going to have a huge following.
You'll have to share it. You'll have to share it on your male spouses pages and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll get them all. We this needs to be, you know, brought up more often, and it needs to be normalized. It needs to be just so perfectly acceptable. It's a shame. Yeah. It's really frustrating too that people here have specifically said you don't belong here, you don't belong in this group. Like, what even gives them that like right or power, you know?
I don't get it.
I don't know, and I don't know if
obviously we don't have an answer for that.
I know.
I wish know if there's you know, maybe they just like, hey, look, man, you guys have everything else, like this is our thing. And I can understand being territorial, but when you're trying to build a community and that and realistically, that's really what this is about. It is the biggest perk of being in the military is you get a chance to build a community with like-minded people, something that most civilians are just never going to get. Right. You'll have your little group of work friends or whatever. Everybody here gets it. Everybody here has a spouse in. Everybody is going through the same things. We all understand childcare is a problem. We all understand the limits of the commissary or, you know, whatever limited facilities we have. We understand that it's super hot here and our kids don't have a lot to do if they're younger. You know, we all are going through it. We just need to understand that and come together. And I think, you know, maybe this podcast, maybe that'll get out there and change some minds.
I mean, like I said, I mean, I've been super naive to the idea of it, and I feel really ashamed to say that. But like, I think maybe, you know, hopefully, maybe it's lack of knowledge. Maybe, you know, we just need to, I don't know, get the word out more.
Yeah. We're out there.
They do exist. I promise.
I know. So like your wife then at work, does she ever come home with like information on, you know, like, I mean, is her leadership at all
talked
interested
about on the military side, you know, so to say?
Yeah, like, do they ask out, like, how you're doing or anything like that? And I don't know.
I have never. I was
like, do they know you exist? I don't.
I ended up leaving the Key Spouse group because the same male problem. This whole thing kind of, you're not a part of the club.
Yeah.
The girls are getting together kind of without you. And I just ended up leaving it because it started feeling really exclusionary.
Yeah.
But I was working very closely with the commander and the first shirt and all these different people. But since then, like, I haven't even gotten a phone call once from, and we're supposed to get checked in on and everything. And, you know, my wife's pregnant and they put together these big, like, diaper trains and food trains and all these. We've received none of that.
What?
And we just don't get any because I don't know if they just assume, like, well, you're a guy, you got it. You'll take care of it. You'll figure it out. So yeah, right. I haven't received any of that stuff. And
yeah, that's kind of frustrating.
It is frustrating, especially when I'm a part of the page that's for our squadron and they're going, hey, we got somebody having a baby. Hey, let's put together this. Let's put together this.
Yeah.
And you're like, clearly she has twins. Hey, like, guys, you can't hide the fact that we're going to have some babies soon.
That's so crazy. Man, I know, like, I'm trying to wrap my head around, you know, like, I wonder even how your spouse, like, goes to work day in and day out. Like, is it also weird being a female? My mom was also in the military, and, like, I know the dynamics are also a little bit weird, but probably not as weird as being a male spouse on the outside. I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my head around.
I feel like the Air Force is very good with accommodating females and, like, trying to meet their needs or normalizing that females are in these service positions.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, even just to know too that I was in an all male profession, so we didn't. Now females are allowed into, you know, Ranger School and all these different things. So the awareness is coming out. I don't think she's having many problems that way.
Yeah.
But it is definitely weird when we go do hikes or do the get-togethers and stuff like that, and
she has to bring you as your
they're like, well, who's this dude? Like, they all know me now, but definitely when I first got here, they're like, wait, she's the service member?
Yeah.
And you're...
Yeah.
That's weird.
I know. Goodness. Well, let's see. The last thing on the Military One source, it said, just make time to do things together as a couple, which I think you guys are killing it. You know, I think both of you are very active together, from what I could tell. When I stalk your Facebook.
We are. We do quite a lot.
Yeah.
Quite a lot together. Wanted to bring that up. Tomorrow's Valentine's.
Oh,
what are your guys' plans?
I'm getting.
I'm making breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The normal.
Okay, I'm gonna come to your house.
I just like we don't normally like go out and make a big deal about like going out of the house, but we try to do like really special things like with the kids and involve the kids in our Valentine's Day plans too. So like picking everybody's favorite meal, like my husband's is going to be favorite breakfast, my son's will be his favorite lunch, and then picking one of my daughter's favorite things for dinner, and then just kind of like tying it all up with like movie, games, like really not that different than the normal thing, but
that's nice.
It's kind of great though, right?
Yeah.
You don't need one day to...
Exactly.
Yeah. I've always been of the mind with like Mother and Father's Day. It's like, you guys love me all the time. I don't need a day. Like, you guys are awesome. I love you.
That's funny.
But are you doing anything special?
Well, I wouldn't say special, but I did order some chocolate-covered strawberries from a military spouse, and then I ordered one of those, did she call it charcuterie board things? Boxes?
Charcuterie, right.
Charcuterie.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Well, that's how I heard it pronounced by
did
the Google translation. I was like, wait, tell me how you say this. And I
say it one more time.
Charcuterie.
I cannot.
Yeah.
I'm
like trying to say it. Charcuterie?
Cheese and stuff.
I don't know.
It's cheese and
right.
stuff.
So,
Actually, there's a really funny meaning. It's actually called charcuterie. So we'll just go with that. There you go.
That sounds
Charcuterie.
So I ordered a box from her to do s'mores.
I'm making one at home.
Oh, that's amazing. So I ordered a s'mores one from her because my husband likes s'mores things. And I was like, oh, this will be fun, And he was like, what'd you do? I was like, don't worry about it. I was like, he's thinking other things probably. But I'm like, surprise, here's food. He's like, oh, darn.
I love Valentine's Day, though. Like, I love celebrating it, but, like, I like making it about the kids, too. Like, doing things for them. Like, actually leading up to Valentine's Day, like, little notes and hearts on their door.
That's so sweet. You're that Pinterest mom. It's such a Pinterest mom. And I'm like, that's not me. And I'm like, I don't think my kids know any different, thank God.
That's okay, then. Good for them.
Yeah.
I, like, put my foot in it from day one, so now I, like, can't get out of the rhythm.
Now you're stuck in it.
Yeah. What about you? Do you have big celebration plans or anything?
Well, I get up every morning with my wife and I make her breakfast and coffee and pack her lunch and stuff.
That's so sweet. I know.
It's kind of our little, one of the things that I said in the very beginning, I said, whatever I do when we're dating, it's important to me that we keep doing those things when we get married. So I have done that from the beginning and we just keep going.
My husband makes me coffee every day too.
Yeah.
So kudos because it means so much. It really does.
I love it.
So tomorrow I'll get up and make her a French toast. Like she loves her French toast.
That's my favorite breakfast.
I love French toast.
I make some great French toast. I'll make her French toast and do hash browns. And I gave her last night. I gave her a bracelet that I'd bought. Been looking at for a few months and just trying to find the right one. And so I gave her a bracelet. She doesn't know. See, this will air afterwards, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you got about
she doesn't know, but I have her earrings that match those too.
Aww. So
they're like diamonds and sapphire earrings. And I have some flowers getting delivered, and I have a card, all sappy stuff. And then for my daughter, she also has a card, and she gets one flower. My wife gets a whole bunch of flowers. And then the boys got they just got T-shirts.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So everybody's kind of getting
something. Yeah, we do
and
cards and like little gifts too for the kids. I love like those little like $1 chocolate boxes. I mean, it's like the worst chocolate ever, but they love the thought of it. It is. It's horrible, but they love it, you know. And we get them a card, and they're each getting a book, maybe scholarly or something. But
I know
it's. I think it's great to try to like trickle it down because you want your sons and your daughter to grow up and be able to spoil their significant other in a way and. Treat them.
I want them to be able to look at it and go, well, this is my ideal, and this is what I want to. I tell my daughter all the time. I said, if you don't find somebody that treats you as kindly as I do, if they don't, then they're not good enough for you.
Yeah.
And same with my boys. Like you need to. You see these things that we do. How you get up in the morning, you take care of whoever you're with. Guy, girl, I don't care, but you take care of your significant other.
Yeah.
So.
That's nice.
That box is going to be awesome. I've been watching her and like all of those little charcuterie.
See now,
shark.
I know.
Oh, I can't say it right anymore. Boxes that she's been making. Those look super good.
I know. I'm excited.
Way to support all those spouses.
Yeah.
So
I know.
Speaking of like supporting spouses, what like after going through all these things that unfortunately you're not quite getting the support from, like what can we do, or what do you want to tell the people, the listeners, like what can they do to support our male spouses better?
That's a good question.
It is a really good question.
Kind of loaded.
I know. You're like, wow.
We can come back to that one at a later date, but
I think it would be really great if the command has a male spouse in there to have people reach out. Have the key spouses. Like, let's normalize this.
Yeah.
It's going to be rare. You're not going to find a lot of commands that have male spouses out there because there's not a lot of us.
Yeah.
But if they are, like, take note.
Yeah.
Reach out and maybe do something a little extra, like get them out there, send some invites to some of the things, or try to set up things that could be maybe, I don't want to say male based because I don't know what that means.
Right.
Just they have all these different groups and stuff. Maybe try to set up something where it would be okay for a guy to reach out and get some support. be able to talk with command. I don't want to have to go right to the commander to say, hey, nobody's calling me. Nobody's I don't have anything.
Yeah.
Maybe start setting some stuff up at the lower levels where it becomes more accessible.
Yeah.
I think that, the MFLACs were really great. I got to say, that's being in the Air Force, they've really, really changed mental health. They've made that a big priority, where when I first got in, it really wasn't. It was just kind of stiff upper lip, suck it up kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we've seen that doesn't work. It's not really a great way to go. So best thing I think is get at the command level. If you are a part of these Facebook pages, these community pages, key spouses, or anything like that, like reach out.
Yeah.
We're just normal people. We're doing the dad stuff. We're doing, a lot of these male spouses are also working. I'm in the position where I'm lucky enough to be able to stay at home with my kids and be there, and I provide my own income. My wife has her income. So I'm in a unique position that way.
Yeah.
But a lot of these guys are still, they're working too. Like they have a job or two. They're staying at home. Like they're just as frayed and frazzled as all of the female spouses. We're doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
So just make it accessible. Whatever you guys are doing, like throw out an invite.
Yeah.
Hey man, we're going to, it may be weird. We're just going to go get a coffee here. Like throw out an invite. We're not creepy. I promise.
Yeah. I think when I worked at Travis Air Force Base and we did like the spouse newcomers, and I talked a little bit about like when I would do a spouse tour, we tried to make a specific one just for male spouses. But again, it was kind of hard to find them, like where are you at? We tried to do a quarterly like male spouse thing where they would have a special thing at the golf course, which I was like, that would be so fun. I was like, I would want to go to that. But again, they were like kind of hard to find. And so I think, even in the Airman and Family Readiness Center world, it was like, man, you guys are difficult to find. So I know it's hard to like get that information out there, how to find you guys or how to get you connected. And man, there was something else I was gonna mention. I think when I was also doing Google search and stuff, because I'm heavily involved with Mom's Club here, which I think is fantastic. Actually, they're also doing like a Valentine exchange for my kids, which I think is so fun. Because they're not in school right now, so my kids aren't missing out on the Valentine exchange. And I was like, man, I wonder if there's something just for dudes, And so I'm like searching on Google, like, is there a dad's club? That didn't work out.
No.
Nothing popped up on dad's club.
Mm-mm.
But then I found Father's Club, which seemed kind of like, oh, that exists. That's out there. So that might be something, for other male spouses to look into. It seems like it's like an organization that you can set up chapters wherever you're at. So whatever military base, these male spouses, you guys can get a chapter started, and, you can find other dads in the community. They don't have to just be military member, like military affiliated, because that's what Mom's Club is. Mom Club is just out in the community. Yeah, there's a lot of military spouses in there, but these are just moms out in the community. So that's huge, where if you're just getting connected to the people who are like local also, I think that would be something to look up.
Right.
So I would Google fathersclub.org or something like that. I think that's what it was.
You mentioned it before.
I did.
Maybe after we see what the fallout of these of the babies, and I can get into a routine that way.
I would say maybe once they're about, like 9 months, they're starting to crawl around and stuff. Yeah. It's nice to like, okay, I need to find other kids, for these guys to play with. I'm
excited about that. I feel like it's going to be like having these younger babies is going to actually make it a lot easier to reach out and be a part of things because now it's not weird if I'm out and about.
Like, I'm at a park.
Look, I have them.
Kids.
I have them. They're right here.
Look at that. I could play.
I could take them around. Right. Yeah. So maybe that will get us. I don't know. But there's still
might be an outlet.
Not everybody has kids too.
Right. Yeah.
Not everybody has kids. So and they shouldn't have to have a kid to be invited to spouse things or be a part of like, a group.
Exactly. I know. Because some people are like, I have a dog. You're like, and not everybody has dogs,
I'll definitely go walk dogs with someone.
I know. Oh, gosh. I know. Maybe we'll just have to start a new one.
Maybe we should start one and then we'll just like step out of it. Like,
no, seriously, maybe we can. That would be kind of cool.
Like to just make it like, this is normal, guys. Like totally, totally normal thing. And we can
that sounds fun.
And I don't know. I mean, there's nothing weird about this. Like just sitting here having this conversation together, it's been like super enlightening and fun. And it's like,
Yeah.
Come on, people, do it more often.
I'm a person.
I know, right? Oh, goodness. This is fun.
So we always like to
yes.
leave things on like a positive kind of note, though. Like if you were to give, let's even say we can say young male spouse, but you could say young, spouse anyway. Just some advice. Like what would be like your key points, your key advice that you would give to somebody, whether they are a male, whether maybe they're just stepping into the military or coming out of their own like retirement, kind of life. I mean, your life wisdom now.
I can give a lot of advice for coming out of the military for sure. That's a tough identity change right there. But if you're new to marriage or you're new to being a male military spouse, even though it's frustrating, even though we've talked about some of the hardships and the challenges, don't stop trying. Like reach out. It matters, and you are going to find your person. You're going to find your people. You're going to find a group that will help you out. That you can connect with. They are out there. People are out there. It's just you got to do some searching. Love your spouse. Love them. Take care of each other. Be positive. Be kind. That's my best advice.
That's good.
That's great advice. We all need to be kind and positive.
I know. It sounds so hack, but man, we've had 2020 was a really, really rough year for just a ton of reasons. And I think people just got used to everything being combative. Mm-hmm. Everybody's kind of losing their minds a little bit. And let's all remember that we're all going through it. Yeah. We're all walking down the street. We're all doing the same stuff. We're all people, and nobody wants to be treated poorly. Doesn't matter what you believe one way or the other. Let's just be kind.
Yeah.
Get together and, say hi, smile at somebody.
Yeah.
That's so hard. So like uncommon anymore.
I talk to strangers all the time.
I know.
I get weird looks.
You seem like the person that would do that.
I do. I talk to the cashier. I talk but
and
they're
like, you're like, why is it so hard? I was like, hey, how are you? And they're like, yeah, I'm fine. Okay.
No, a little compliment. Like I noticed your guys' nails. I noticed, just say like, hey, that's really cool. If there's a way to do it without being creepy, like, oh, those are pretty cool shoes, or just notice something, because people, they take the time, and some people just, you don't know, maybe that person's right there on that edge and the walls are closing in, and you just going, hey, you did your hair really awesome today. Like, hey, I hope you have a really great day. Just a smile, like, hey, how's your day going? And really mean it when you ask the person. Yeah. When they go fine, you go, give them a follow-up. Like, oh yeah, like pretty busy today and whatever. And a lot of people it'll perk them right up. Yeah. So just be kind. Love each other.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's amazing. Well, I don't know. I've enjoyed our talk.
This has been great. Yeah. So great. Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
We appreciate you.
Aw. Well, thank you so much for listening to Behind the Ranks. I'm Victoria.
And Michelle.
And thank you, Jack. I know.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening, guys.